Capcom Cup is a pretty big deal. It's the World Championships of competitive Street Fighter where all the best players play, and this year the prize pool is over $2 million. But over the past 2 weeks, 20 players qualified for it, and most of you probably didn't even know. For the average viewer, the format is already complicated enough. There's 4 different ways to qualify: the online premieres, the offline premieres, the World Warriors, and the LCQ. Now, in terms of the ones that people know the most about, I think the offline premieres are the most obvious to the casual viewer. It includes EVO, the France premiere, and the Singapore premiere. The LCQ and the online premieres, you kind of have to be looking out for them, I would guess, but if you're tuned in, if you follow the Capcom Fighters Twitch and Twitter, you probably see the updates about the events that are happening. And for the ones that have already happened, they do have the winners listed on the Capcom Pro Tour website. Angry Bird won EVO, Gachi-kun won the Singapore premiere, Chris Wong won France. Then for the online premieres, we got Travis Styles, Kusanagi, Snake Eyes, Dookie, NL, Kappa, Namikaze, Jabi, Phenom, Garnet, and Big Bird. And also Sheehan won this past weekend. I think they haven't gotten around to updating it, but besides that, there's only 6 more. And the rest of these spots are these World Warrior events, which they don't even have the winners, any of the winners listed yet. Luckily for us, Super Yin here on Twitter made a spreadsheet with details about all the World Warrior events and the results of them so far. You can see here are the upcoming ones, 6 more remaining. Then there's a couple more of the online premieres. And then these are all of the ones that have finished that are not even listed on the Capcom Pro Tour website. So as I said, 20 tournaments in total that have happened so far for the World Warrior Finals. Extremely high stakes. Winner of each region makes it into Capcom Cup for the chance at that $1 million first place. So a lot of storylines overall, a lot of heartbreak, a lot of success. In this video, we're basically going to take a quick look at the top 8 brackets for each of these, make a couple of notes on the storylines that were happening, and then watch one singular round, the finishing round of the tournament. If we were to watch any more than that, it would probably be way too long of a video. So I think 20 rounds of Street Fighter should be sufficient in this video to keep you guys satisfied. Before we get into it, just a quick reminder to hit that subscribe button down below. It really helps the channel out a lot, and let's get into it. All right, so first up we have Canada West, and here is how it all went down. So these first 4 matches didn't happen. Basically the way that World Warrior worked was the top 4 in points after the first 5 World Warrior events made into winners. The other 4 were in losers, so these were just for seeding purposes. Mike X's path, 3-0 over Galaxy Butter, 3-0 over Nate Banks, and 3-0 again in grand finals. I think the most notable storyline besides Mike X winning was Cerro Blast run. They started out in losers bracket. I think they had the best chance of beating Mike X, but unfortunately came 1 game short of beating Nate Banks in the losers final. All right, then here we go with the last round of the tournament. As you can see, Mike X clearly with a dominating performance so far. 2-0 up a round. I think that was -3 if I'm not mistaken, so wasn't able to get a punish on that one. Just needs 1 more hit for the super. I think Nate Banks just wasn't feeling comfortable against this Ken. Also of note is that Mike X mains Luke, or so he says, but he played mostly Ken in this tournament. I think he played Luke in the first match and then against Nate Banks both times. Maybe because he likes this better in this matchup, and it definitely showed because he just 3-0'd Nate Banks 2 times in a row. All right, moving on to the United States West region. Congratulations to Nephew, the jury player. And here is the bracket for that. Obviously, I already made a video on this, so you can definitely tune in to that one to see my whole run. I won 3-1 over Strider. I won 3-0 over Chris T. And then we kind of had a nail-biter set at the end to take it over Chris T 3-2 in grand finals. In terms of other storylines, JB was definitely making a run in the losers bracket, but he lost to Chris T in losers final. Kind of a similar run that Cerro Blast was having in the last tournament that we saw. And also of note, Noah the Prodigy was 1 hit away from beating Chris T. If he had won that, you know, who knows what might have happened. With that being said, let's take a look again at the last round of this tournament where I took the victory over Chris T. I got a lot of offense started right at the beginning, and this also let me get a chance to build my level 3 pretty quickly, and that's kind of what I was eyeing on for my win. I got level 3 right now. Chris T trying to make something happen, has to burn some bar to start some pressure. Maybe a mistake right here, burning out, and allowed me to find the hit right there. And yes, that does indeed kill, and I qualify for Capcom Cup. All right, the third one we're looking at is Japan. I think most of the people watching were considering this one or US East to be the hardest one for the World Warriors. And the main story here is just kind of domination. 3-0, 3-1, 3-0, and he won the past 2, I think, World Warrior events, World Warrior 4 and 5 in Japan. So he's just kind of been winning everything in Japan, and he showed it again on the day that it mattered. We also had some favorites, Kakeru and Tokido, get knocked out pretty early. Tokido actually lost the Ken mirror to Kabe, which was probably surprising to some people, but Kabe was doing really well in the first few Japan World Warriors, and I think he's doing pretty decently, at least in Street Fighter League, now that he's on Saitun console. So it wasn't too surprising, but Fudo's dominance also was not too surprising either. All right, and let's take a look at the final round of this tournament as well. 2-0 to Fudo, but 1 round apiece, so Yamaguchi could potentially tie it up at this point. He actually spends a super. I don't really agree with that because it's pretty heavily scaled, and you're probably going to find the hit into super later on anyways. I think probably some of the reasoning is because he can get him close to burnout, but Fudo manages to keep that away for a second, and right now Fudo has a lot of resources, and he's probably going to find the closeout much easier than Yamaguchi because he just needs 1 hit. Yamaguchi needs probably 3. 2 good hits right now. A level 2 through a fireball could also work. Oh, that could have been it. That's going to be... Oh, he dropped it. Oh, what? I don't know what happened there. Really? I think Yamaguchi wouldn't have been able to kill either way off of that hit, but it was definitely weird. I think he could have knocked down at least, but Fudo also dropped a combo before that. So a bit of spaghetti at the end, but Fudo was pretty dominant in this run nonetheless. I want to make a quick note that all the people in this top 8 besides Fudo still have a chance to qualify because their online premiere has not happened yet. That happens I think this weekend actually, so we'll get to see who else makes it out of Japan very soon. But for the other 2 that we went over, my region and Mike X, the one that qualified out of our offline premiere was Snake Eyes, so anyone else in our region will have to qualify from the LCQ. All right, our 4th region is going to be Asia Southeast, and I think most people are looking at this as Xian's region, and it was indeed Xian that ended up taking it. He did lose a couple of games, lost 1 game to Levy, and lost 1 game to Bravery as well. They even have a budget Xian in this region, so I think that goes to show Xian's influence over this region. And I think the storyline here is that Bravery getting 2nd here also got 2nd in the online premiere, and you might think that this means that Bravery did not make it in, but Xian also won the online premiere, which means that since Bravery got 2nd in the online premiere, Bravery qualified as well. All right, so we got the last round, Xian versus Bravery, 1 round apiece for both of them. So if Bravery won this round, and he definitely could have because he had level 3 on deck, oh, a DP there would have been huge. He's trying to recover a little bit of meter. Nice sweep, anti-air, and this makes it so that it's 1 more hit to kill, but Bravery wakes up C8, but it actually got baited. I didn't actually know that was possible to do against Kami Super. Kami Super is kind of fast, I thought, but I don't know if she just did the jab too early. I'm definitely gonna have to test it out to see if that's a real thing. All right, for our 5th qualifier, we have Canada East, and Joe Umerogen ended up taking it. They were a bit of closer sets than the previous regions we looked at. 3-1 over Flux Waves, 3-1 over Safe, and then 3-2 over Flux Waves for Joe Umerogen to qualify. I played a game of Valorant with Joe the night before he had to play in this, and he was feeling pretty confident, so I'm not surprised at all that he ended up taking it at this tournament. I think the major storylines here are this is Joe's 2nd time qualifying out of this region. He also made Capcom Cup last year. from winning his World Warrior. The second storyline, Zen actually got second place at Capcom Cup and only got fifth place in this World Warrior. I think everyone here can either participate in the Midwest online premiere or the East Coast online premiere, depending on which part of Canada they are currently residing in. So Zen still does have a chance in I think the Midwest qualifier that happens I think January 7th weekend. A lot of you guys might be surprised because obviously he was so good at Street Fighter 5, but he's been really busy with school from what it seems like, so he's been focusing on that, so not as strong as he was at that game at this game, but maybe he can pick it up and qualify in the online premiere. I think also of note is they spelled Joe Ume Rogan wrong on the broadcast for the entire stream. So that was pretty interesting. I thought I was watching this whole stream rooting for Joe and they got his name wrong. I don't know if that's bad for his luck or what, but he did end up winning still. 2 games apiece, 1 round for Joe. Each of them almost has a level 3. So this round, I think it's whoever can cash out first. Fluxwave spends a level 2 for basically the guaranteed hit right here. I still don't know if I agree with it because even this amount of damage doesn't seem like really worth it for 2 bars, even if it's like a guaranteed hit, because Joe really just needs like 2 good hits still to kill with his level 3. So I probably would have saved for the level 3 and then gone for the setup if I were Fluxwaves, or waited, got a hit first. So Joe just dropped the combo. Gave Fluxwaves another chance. Okay, Joe's burnt out, so he's gonna have to take a little bit of chip right here. Oh, he gets anti-air. Fluxwave had to burn out there. Goes for the combo, I think. Oh, he drops it. I don't know if he meant to just drop that for the setup, but it's a terrible situation. He can get chip now. Yeah, at that point, he had to just go for amnesia to try and avoid chip. But he does have a combo here. He can do backdash into the portal, and that will actually combo, but I don't think it would have killed. So I think this portal was intentional, but he just didn't actually get anything off of it. So I mentioned the people in Canada East having another chance to play in the Midwest qualifier for their online premiere, but they're basically playing against all the losers of this region as well. So this region has Brian F, a fan favorite, I'm sure. A lot of other strong American players, but it was Dual Kevin who took it. 3-2, very close set against Xian. I think that one could have gone either way and could have turned the tides for the whole tournament. Then he went on to beat Flash Metroid 3-0 and 3-1 to qualify out of his region. I think the other very major storyline here is that Brian F beat Just a Kid, because Brian F warmed up with me for about an hour, a few hours before he had to play. So I would like to take credit for this win. All right, now we've got Oceania, which is a little bit weird because Travis Styles was already qualified. I think their qualifier happened when Gamers 8 happened, so that was the middle of August. So it's been about 3 months since Travis Styles qualified. And since Roth beat Travis Styles in winners and grand finals, maybe it makes more sense for us to watch Roth versus Freezer, because that kind of decides it more than I think these sets did. All right, so we got ROF on the JP, pretty common character in these World Warrior top 8s, I would say, in these tournaments. Against Honda, a much less common character.
Maybe that's just ROF being relentless in his
ROF up 2 games and a round, or 2 games to 1 and a round. And Freezer's actually burned out right now, which is okay, honestly, because he's just going to take a little bit of chip here. As long as he doesn't get hit by anything, it's honestly not that bad. And he just has to make it count right here. But he takes another throw in. Now ROF has a level 2. Gets the hit. Might as well just activate here. He only needs 1 punish counter throw in. Actually, Freezer just got counter hit on Wake Up. Not sure what he tried. There is a pretty big prize difference as well. I think it's 3,500 versus 1,750 for first and second. But honestly, I don't really care about the money storylines part of this. The Capcom Cup qualification is a lot cooler, I think, and I feel like this match is probably the most important one for that. All right, next up we got the France World Warrior, which honestly I think is one of the strongest World Warrior regions to try and qualify. Like, just looking at the winners bracket is Valmaster, Killzoo, Crimson, and Kane, so it's very strong players all over the place. I think the major storyline going into this was Valmaster having gotten third at the France premiere and almost having qualified. I think he was like one hit, one drop combo away from beating Chris Wong. I'm not sure if it was just a drop combo or like a mistake. I can't remember, but he was very close to beating Chris Wong. So it was definitely possible for him to win that a few weeks ago. So it was good to see him bounce back. Actually lost to Crimson in winners finals, tried out the Kimberly as well for one game, had to beat Kane in losers finals, and then 3-0 3-0 against Crimson. So this was honestly one of the craziest World Warrior brackets that we have seen so far. All right, so Valmaster just turned up this set, honestly. Like, he lost the winners final set, and I feel like this matchup is honestly probably pretty hard for Chun-Li. It's historically been a bad matchup even in like Street Fighter 5, so it just seems like it'd be hard for Chun-Li to get in, but you can see the pressure already working out for Valmaster. Crimson doesn't have much bar, and Valmaster has a level 3, so Valmaster just needs to find one little hit. A crouched medium kick, a forward medium punch, or a crouched medium punch buffer, and that actually does it. I watched a bit of this set. I definitely want to go back and watch it more, but I think those buffers were what really set him apart in this set against Crimson, and were the adaptation he needed to really get this dominating win in grand finals. All right, for the South Korea region, we had Lashard taking it pretty dominantly. 3-0 over Fox Rain, 3-1 over Armperer, and 3-1 again over Armperer Ken. This one honestly wasn't too surprising. Lashard was pretty dominant in the World Warrior events. Even NL winning the online premiere that they had, I think that was maybe considered an upset, because Lashard, if I remember correctly, was winning everything up to that point in Korea, and then NL just came ready on that day to win with his Luke. But Lashard, staying in form for their World Warrior event, was able to take it. And I mentioned they already had their online premiere event, so everyone else here, if they want to qualify, is going to have to go through the LCQ. All right, they don't have the VOD up, but they do have a clip I found of the last round. So here are the final moments of Lashard taking it. Just needs one more hit to go into, I'm guessing, the level 2. Armperer can definitely win as well. He's got the level 3. If he can find a hit with like a stand fierce, he could confirm that. He doesn't want to just do a crouched medium kick into it, because then he would just burn out if Lashard blocks it. Oh, Lashard actually goes for it, and he doesn't spend the super. I'm actually surprised, and Lashard finds a hit confirm. Does that kill? I think it does. And the spinning bird kick actually takes it. I would have thought Tensho kicks does more than spinning bird kick, but I'm not actually sure now that he did that one instead of the easier combo. I think maybe not spending this level 3 right here on this hit, like, it wouldn't have killed, but either way you're in the same position where you need to find one more hit, and at that point maybe even a throw would kill. So I feel like getting that would have been better. Maybe he just missed the input, but either way Lashard ended up taking it. All right, here we have the Europe Northeast region. We had Phenom taking it 3-0, 3-0, 3-2 over Mirkin. However, Phenom was already qualified since he won their online premiere, so it goes to the second place spot, Mirkin, for qualifying for Capcom Cup. And this is especially heartbreaking for Juicy Joe, because I'm pretty sure he got second place to Phenom in the online premiere, so it really sucks that he basically got second place 2 times in a row trying to qualify for Capcom Cup. But that's just how it goes in this winner takes all environment. You have to get the top place, except in this case Phenom got the top place, so Mirkin ends up qualifying. So let's take a look at the match that matters, Mirkin versus Juicy Joe. And in this situation, the players actually knew that they were playing for Capcom Cup in this set, and so it actually went down to the final round between these two. Luke versus JP, level 3 on the side of Mirkin, gets a jump fierce. That's a horrible way to start if you're Juicy Joe. Look at how much damage that does. That's one of people's main complaints with Luke, that he just does an absurd amount of damage. Just got one jump in off a jump fierce, crazy jump in normal, and then the crouching medium punch, also one of people's biggest complaints, that normal is just too good. And Mirkin, using 2 of Luke's most busted tools, ends up fighting his way into Capcom Cup for the second time. Actually, he did qualify last year as well. Right, the East Coast World Warrior was hyped up a lot, and it definitely delivered. I mean, all these top 8 players were extremely strong, and all the matches definitely lived up to the hype. I think for a lot of people, a big storyline going into this was the story of Meta RD, who got second place at Evo, second place at the France premiere, losing to Chris Wong. I think he got 5th, maybe 4th at the Singapore premiere. So he had insane performances all around, but still was not qualified for Capcom Cup. Even though he's arguably the strongest player in the world, he still had a chance of not qualifying since his region was so difficult with NuckleDu, Punk, and Idom. However, he was able to fight against the odds, lost 3-1 to Punk in winner's bracket, then brought it all the way back, beating Spaceboy, Idom, Punk, and NuckleDu for 2 sets. And it all actually came down to final round bracket reset and everything. Mena coming out with the Blanca against the Guile. He actually tried to counterpick with JP with one game, but NuckleDu actually ended up winning that game, and he had to switch back to Blanca, and NuckleDu gets a level 3 to start. However, drive gauge is low on both sides. NuckleDu still doesn't have too much drive gauge. He's able to build up a little bit more, but goes back down because he spent an EX Fireball. And you'll see, I think that EX Fireball is actually what ends up costing him the set, because now he goes into Burnout. And RD gets a guaranteed chip sequence into Burnout Stun. There is actually no escaping any of this, because you can't even throw in between that Fierce into DI, and then it is gets for game with the Blanca Chan doll in front of you. NuckleDu does not guess right here. Mena gets the throw and qualifies for Capcom Cup finally. And still, East Coast is probably the region with the biggest storylines, because now after Mena qualified, it's still only one more qualifier they have in the online premiere for their region, and NuckleDu, Punk, Idom are still not qualified. Only one of them can win that, and then only one person in the whole world can win the LCQ. So it just seems like kind of a flaw with this year's Capcom Pro Tours circuit. So unfortunately, that's just the way it is. Some extremely strong players that should be in Capcom Cup off of skill just aren't going to be in it. As a player, it definitely sucks to see, and hopefully there is some change that allows regions like this and like Japan that have so many really strong players that can potentially win Capcom Cup. Hopefully there's a way for them to make it off of their own skill, that many players from that region. But for the time being, there is still the online premiere that's going to be around January 13th or 14th of next year. That's going to be for the East Coast, so definitely stay tuned for that one. It's going to be a super hype one. All right, now we've got Asia East, which is I think Taiwan and Hong Kong, and actually Chris Wong had a pretty strong start, but Uma actually came out from losers bracket and took it in the grand finals to win the tournament and qualify for Capcom Cup. As you guys probably know, and as I said earlier in this video, Chris Wong won the France premiere, so he was already qualified for Capcom Cup. So actually there was a good chance that if he didn't win that, he might not have qualified. But because he was qualified, this match didn't really matter in terms of qualification. And it was actually this set where Uma won 3-2 against ZJZ. So we're going to take a look at the final moments from that set. All right, so this one actually went down to the final round as well. I feel like all the losers finals where they were playing for Capcom Cup went down to the final round, or at least the final game. This is a matchup I think Jury does fine in, even though JP is such a strong character. And the reason is her fireballs actually clash with JP's fireballs. So that means her EX fireball can be a really great way to get in. And also drive rushes are a big tool to get around JP's fireball as well. That was an interesting try. It's something I've been thinking about. The drive rush into level 2. It's to bait a drive rush check. And Uma really loves his feng shui engine. Oh, he could have killed there if he confirmed that into heavy punch. Then maybe drive rush into a DP. Or he could have even done an EX, but still, I mean, obviously I know the result, but he's still in a really good spot. However, ZJZ, oh my god, why did he go for that? That only beats throw tech in that situation. He still needs one more hit. Went for a parry there. Went for another parry. Very strange parry there. Oh, a DI. I think he thinks the DI is going to kill, but I don't think the DI actually kills there. Bro, that was mad risky. I feel like ZJZ could have actually DI'd back. Even if he doesn't, EX Amnesia might actually be enough to kill. So I'm surprised Uma kept going for this. Either way, I'm personally super excited to see Uma make it in. I've been stealing a lot of jury tech from him, especially with feng shui engine stuff that he's been labbing. Besides ZJZ, I think the two players people are looking at the most to maybe make a deep run in the LCQ are Oil King and Hot Dog. Hot Dog's been performing extremely well in the offline premiere, so there's a good chance that he performs well at the LCQ as well with his DJ. Oil King, I think he had a rough start at the beginning because he didn't really have his own character, but now he's fully invested in the Rashid, it seems like, and Rashid seems really strong. Gachi-kun won the Singapore premiere with Rashid, so I think with some time and a little bit of polishing, he could end up taking the LCQ. Right here we've got the Middle East regional final. I didn't actually see, but Big Bird lost 3-0 in winners semifinals. I did not expect to see that. I thought Big Bird was just going to clean up, but Big Bird did end up actually just winning the entire tournament, which means that this was not the match that mattered for Capcom Cup since Big Bird was already qualified from winning their online premiere. It's a little bit weird since it's not really guaranteed, but I feel like this is probably the match that mattered the most. Fandroid versus Abood B-Boy. So let's take a look at the last round of this set. All right, so Fandroid with the DJ against Abood B-Boy with Luke. Again, two very common characters. Wow, got the crouching medium punch actually. You could tell that was meaty enough on that hit for DJ to get that combo. Going for the Oki. DJ has a level 2 on deck. Can go through a fireball with that, but probably just saving for the level 3 at this point since you just need that big hit. Oh, what? I think he was expecting another forward fierce. Oh, he dropped the punish. I think that's probably the mistake that cost him the set right here, that he didn't punish the super. It is kind of weird, but after that first hit, you just have to mash out your punish. I mean, he's definitely minus a lot, and he dropped a combo there that would have killed as well. Those drops definitely cost Abood B-Boy for that last round. All right, next up, we got Europe West, where Takamura ended up cleaning up 3-0 against Zerna, 3-2 against Libro, and then 3-1 against Libro. I honestly don't know too much about the rest of these players besides Takamura. And Giko actually qualified last year out of, I think, this World Warrior to qualify for Capcom Cup. He also played Cammy in Street Fighter V, but he wasn't able to qualify again, lost 3-0 to Zerna, and Takamura ended up actually winning the tournament. And here we have the last round of the entire tournament. Still no bracket reset, so Takamura had a whole nother set to work with even if he lost this set. However, he finds the punish on the command grab into the level 3. Maybe that was just too big of a risk to take, and now you're going to have to react to the DI if Takamura decides to do it. He definitely seems like the player that would do that in this type of a situation, just go for it, but he seems to be playing it patient enough, backing up because he knows one hit from Libro into the, oh nah, that was clean, that was clean, that was clean from Takamura. EX DP for the whiff punish with the range, and then the chip with the run DP. That was honestly just a really clean way to qualify for Capcom Cup. All right, next up we got South America East. I'm not sure exactly which countries are in this region, but Shaka, I'm pretty sure, is from Argentina, and he ends up winning over Dookie 3-2. These matches again didn't happen. These were just what the TOs put in order to seed them for winners and losers. So Shaka won 3-2 against Dookie, 3-1 against Young Ho, and then 3-1 against Lito 94. Dookie actually won their online premiere, so he was just chilling in this top 8. He's probably not too salty. Obviously there's some money on the line to be won, but at the end of the day, he's still in Capcom Cup, and I think he's the only person that going into this was qualified for Capcom Cup already and didn't make grand finals. So in this case, we're still looking at the grand finals for who's going to make it into Capcom Cup. All right, so we got Shaka on the Dawson versus Lito on the DJ. I've actually played Shaka in ICFC, I think. Maybe I've not played him, but I've just watched him play. But he's been doing decently in ICFC tournaments, making a couple of top 8s. I don't know if he's been entering them recently, but I know at the start, at least he did, along with a lot of other people from South America. And he's just been zoning Lito out really well. I don't actually understand how he did so much damage. He's just been keeping him out the whole time. Maybe he spends a level 2 here. No, goes for the reset into the plus frames and goes for the kill. I don't think that super would have killed But I think it would have made sense just to cash out to go for the throw for the kill. But either way, Shaka ends up taking it. All right, next up, we've got Central America West. This tournament, honestly, the way I see it is kind of a heartbreaker because Todokai has gotten second place in so many Capcom Cup qualifiers to this point. I think he got second place in both of the qualifiers last year for his region. So he didn't make Capcom Cup. And then this year, he got second place to, I think, Kusanagi in their online premiere. And then Kusanagi, I guess, didn't enter this. And Todokai lost to Destroy Gods, and it actually went down to the last game. So let's take a look at the last round of Destroy Gods versus Todokai. So we've got JP versus Guile. I think this is probably slightly in JP's favor, if not a bigger advantage. Guile definitely seems like he can fight it, but JP's zoning maybe gives him a slight edge in this matchup. You've got the spikes to counter the sonic booms. And he's actually got such a big lead. Checks the negative frames. He's got a level 1, close to a level 2. EX Fireball. Destroy Gods does have the level 3 though. And if Todokai spends too much meter, I guess he could be put into burnout. Oh, gets hit into the level 3, but still, Todokai, if he finds any block into the level 2, like that's pretty much a win right there. Oh, but he allows Destroy Gods to drive rush in on him. Doesn't check that drive rush. You gotta check that drive rush. And now he's almost burnt out and he gets hit. Oh no, and an input error. I think that was Crouch Fierce maybe? And he got a heavy spin. Oh, that's a heartbreaker for sure. All right, next up is Asia South, and I don't think they actually had a region last year, but this year they do have a spot in the Capcom Cup, and we got Anik taking it over Shidoken in grand finals to qualify for Capcom Cup. Anik was very dominant in the World Warriors. From what I saw, he had over 200 points, I'm pretty sure, and in each one you can get a maximum of 50 points. Second place gets 40, so you know he was doing pretty good in those tournaments to get over 200 points. But the main storyline here is that at least up until last year, Shidoken was from NorCal, so I think we are going to claim him as US West, getting pretty far in this World Warrior. Second place in this World Warrior. We're slowly expanding our territory. All right, so going to the last round, Anik is up 2-1 in the set, got a perfect the last round, finds his way against the first spike in against Shidoken's JP. I feel like this is a matchup that it seems on paper that JP should do really well, but Chun-Li has ways to get in. I guess that forward heavy kick. Also Hazanchu, if you don't parry it, can be kind of annoying to get over projectiles. Shidoken gets a little bit of space. Wow, random DI. I'm guessing maybe for the forward heavy kick. Anik actually burns out for this level 2. Maybe goes for the safe jump right here. No, goes for the damage. Shidoken could get a good side switch here. Oh, but he didn't tech that. If he had tech that, he would have been in such a good spot because he has level 2 as well. But now it's just plus frames on plus frame. I'm not sure about the level 1, to be honest. Maybe you go for the level 2 for the side switch. But either way, a really tough spot. Shidoken ends up losing to Anik, who had a really dominant run in his region. All right, next up, we've got the Germany World Warrior. I honestly wasn't too familiar with any of these players besides Random. Random was doing really well in the online tournaments with his Manon. But it was actually Hallibell coming out on top with his Ken. 3-0 over Random in winners finals after getting a 3-0 over Semi in semis. And then he lost in the first set of grand finals 3-2, but then brought it back 3-0 in the reset. All right, so going into the final round, Random had a chance to get a game on the board until that happened. He's burned out. Not much else to say. It is a pretty rough spot against Ken. One DI is going to take the entire tournament. Gets a level 2. It's not too huge though. Look at the life deficit, and he's still in burnout, pretty close to the corner. He still could potentially get stunned here. Only -1 on that. Still could get DI, not quite anymore, but the overhead you were probably thinking about a lot of other things, but not the overhead, and Halle Bell sneaks that one in there to take it and qualify for Capcom Cup. All right, next up we have South America West. I think maybe the favorite would have been Picoro, right? Because Picoro qualified for Capcom Cup in Street Fighter V. If I remember correctly, W Falcon also qualified last year. I can't really remember the qualifiers from last year too well, but his name does sound familiar as well. But at the end of the day, Nero the Boxer found his way in Grand Finals winner side and ended up winning after beating Picoro 3-2. He beat Darlin 3-1, and then W Falcon 3-2 in the first set of Grand Finals. All right, so we got Nero the Boxer on the DJ. His name's now Nero the DJ. It's funny seeing people with like their characters' names in their name, like PR Balrog's playing Jury now, but his DJ is doing some work. Got a level 3 on the board against the JP. No meter on the side of W Falcon. Oh, the DI. I'm not sure what that was about. Gonna be a huge combo right here. Is this actually enough to kill? Not quite. I'm actually not sure if he could have extended and then got the level 1, but bro, just an EXDP to take it. He was very confident. If that one didn't hit, that would have been extremely bad. But what? Is this a real game? Bro, they started playing another game after they finished the set? Bro, what is wrong with them? Do they not know the set's over? They just keep playing. Okay. What? How does that happen? All right, anyways, Nero the Boxer, very locked in, didn't even realize that he won the set and qualified for Capcom Cup apparently. And that takes us to the last one that we're going to take a look at today, and it's going to be the Mexico World Warrior Finals. This region, I'm actually a lot more familiar with the players because I play them in ranked actually. I've played Uriel, Excelancer, and Hokuto in ranked. Maybe the other ones as well I haven't played in ranked. But I think Uriel maybe was the favorite going into this. He's probably done the best in online tournaments in NA out of all of them. VNG does. Oh, I guess Kusanagi was in this region and not actually Todokai's region, so that's why he wasn't in that World Warrior Finals. However, Seoul VNG did end up doing it. He won 3-2 against Lugabo and then lost 3-1 to Uriel in winners finals. Ended up playing against Lugabo 3-0 in losers finals, and then he brought it all the way back in grand finals against Uriel. If I remember correctly, both of these two qualified for Capcom Cup last year. I forget how Seoul VNG ended up doing, but Uriel actually ended up beating Chris CH in their death pool and ruining Chris CH's chances of making it out of their pool. So I'm sure Uriel was trying to make another deep run this year, but Seoul VNG ended up snatching the spot from him. And most notably, if you haven't noticed by now, Seoul VNG is the only modern player so far to have qualified for Capcom Cup. And Modern Luke is definitely one of the stronger modern characters. The only reason people don't use it, I think, is because of the damage you lose, because even though he has decent damage in modern still, the damage he has in classic is crazy. But there are reasons such as the instant supers to not want classic over modern, but man, that was just kind of domination by Seoul VNG. He kept Uriel out the whole time. Uriel tried to panic DI, and then Seoul VNG closed out. All right, so there you have it. I think this will still end up being a pretty long, but even though we only watched one singular round from each of the qualifiers, the fact that there were 20 World Warriors to get through, and that's not even all of them. There's still 6 more to come in the next few weeks. I just felt like this was the biggest wave of them. I wanted to give an update so you guys could see what happened. And I also personally, since I qualified for Capcom, want to see the final moments for each of the other qualifiers to see how they were feeling in the moment. I will leave a link to this spreadsheet and Super Ian's Twitter in the description of this video if you want to check it out. But if you want to see the remaining events, I think by the time this video is posted, these 3 World Warrior events probably will have happened. Maybe the Japan premiere will have happened as well, but there still are a lot of qualifiers left. I think the most notable ones are Japan and the east coast of the US, but all the other ones are definitely going to be really good as well. Let me know in the comments if you enjoyed this video. I felt like it was a pretty cool idea to try and do a recap, given that there were so many events that happened and there's probably no one that watched every single one. If you liked the video, leave a like, leave a subscribe, really helps the channel out a lot. Got a lot of cool content coming up, and I'll see you in the next one.